Hello and welcome back to the Outside View Live. It's the last match of this India Tour of England 2021. And what better game can you have? Because it's the decider, remember, decider for the T20I series alone and also for the multi-format series. England are ahead 8-6. Remember, if India kind of win this game, not only will they win the T20I series, but they'll also draw level in that multi-format series. Lots to watch out for, lots to look out for in this final game of India Tour of England, and lots to talk about as well as I have Vanitha VR as well as Ananya Upendran. Ananya, just putting you in Harmanpreet Kaur's shoes, and let's say you have won the toss, what would you do?
Um, well, Chelmsford would want to bat first. I mean, it's a flat track, so you assume it wouldn't change. But just because I think someone like Shefali Verma, we've seen historically does well batting first. So if you just want to unleash her, so I'd say win the toss, bat first. But we've seen the trend in the series that the team winning the toss wants to chase. So I assume that they'll do that. But I'd prefer it if they batted first.
Vanitha, you are Harmanpreet Kaur now. You won the toss. What would you want to do?
Definitely, I would want to, if given the situation and the, heavy batting both side has, obviously I would any day chase. Yeah, simply because you don't know how much the target is good enough for an opponent like England, because they are capable of chasing down even 200, and we've seen that in the past. They're capable of chasing it down. So it's only because of that, I would want to chase. But otherwise, like Ananya said, having somebody like a Shafali or Harman, they like free and they like to just go out and play and express themselves much better. So I think batting first would any day be apt and suited for them. But also we need to accommodate someone like a Smriti Mandana. So the contest is even there, you're like, okay, the teams, I think they'll have to go and spin a coin and say, okay, listen, we want to bat first or second. But, if I would, obviously, like the situation is also such that you cannot risk at this point in time. So obviously I'll chase it down, given the track also, it's a flat track. So I'll chase it down.
Right now, we are hearing the official news from Chelmsford, the county ground in Chelmsford, which is the venue for the final T20. India have won the toss. They have chosen to bat first. Your first thoughts, Vanitha? Are you surprised by what Harmanpreet Kaur has been elected to do?
Like I said, the last game they won chasing batting first, and somebody like a Shefali coming good, Harman coming good. I think the ratio is that it's a good toss to win. Any day, we're just having this discussion just before the start of the show, so that any day, on a wicket like this, you would want to put pile up the score and then probably put the opponents under pressure. And anything above 160, it's not easy to chase down, mind you. I mean, it takes a lot of great batting effort by the opponent to chase it down. So anything in 160 is going to keep the Indian team in a driver's seat. Otherwise, they'll have to, keep pushing themselves, to reach that 120 mark has always been a problem for us. Hopefully, it's not one of those days that we get to see. I just hope that the Indian team comes out with a better plan in terms of how to negotiate, the likes of Brunt and the other bowlers, especially like Liston.
And what's with this mindset change or strategy change? Because throughout the ODI series, we were talking about how India loves to chase, how they'd rather chase than bat first. And we saw that the love for chases in the final ODI as well, when they gunned down the score. And now we are seeing in T20 as they won the toss last game. Now they have won the toss and they've opted to bat. What is this strategy change or mindset change?
Well, it is probably the fact that this is a pressure game. And we saw in the previous T20I, when England were put under pressure, they kind of unraveled. I mean, they came away at the seams. So, maybe India sense that they are already under pressure, having, they are playing at home. India coming off a long layoff. England, on the other hand, the players have been playing a lot of domestic cricket. So, when you looked at this at the start of the series, you would have thought England should run away with the series, just based on preparation. So, that they're going into this final game with under a lot of pressure. Yes, they won't lose the series, but I think a draw at this point would be as good as a loss for England and as good as a win for India. So it's probably a case of pressure game, get runs on the board and put the opposition under pressure. And India have a good bowling attack, some bowlers who do well under pressure, are very good defenders of the game. So that's probably something that's in their mind. And they did win the previous game batting first. So why change something that isn't broken?
Indeed, that could be the case. But county ground in Chelmsford, Ananya, it's almost England's fortress, isn't it? 8 wins out of 8 before that ninth game where Meg Lanning stole the show, stole the match as well. So will that be something that will be playing on the mind? Because remember, they haven't got up to the best of the starts right now, losing the toss. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and in that game as well, Australia batted first, and Meg Lanning went hammer and tongs, a record 133 not out. So that's probably also India saying, "Hey, last time you fielded first, this is what happened, and now we have Shafali Verma. Who knows what she can do?" So I think England will definitely be under pressure just because they lost the previous game when they had it under control. But I don't think the game against Australia will be on their mind. Hopefully it shouldn't. I think they'll just come into this ground with a lot of confidence because it is historically a place where they've done well. So I don't think, hopefully the 2019 game isn't, flashing before their eyes. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if once Shafali gets going, if the bowlers start, remembering those memories of landing.
Let's see if that indeed can be the case. But Vanitha, England are unchanged. You couldn't have faulted them if they had made a change here and there because they lost a close game on the game that they should have won the last time. You're surprised that they're not changing anything, not looking to kind of experiment and stuff.
No, well, see, they fielded the best 11 firstly in place, and now that the kind of position that England is in, they wouldn't want to take a chance. And it was just one odd game where the batting unit failed for them completely, but otherwise the batters, even we saw that in the second one day as well how the middle order stood up for them. So it's not that the team management doesn't have the belief in them; they definitely have. I think that's the reason why they're backing and they're going with the same 11. And hopefully today also we'll be able to keep Seavers quietly, so we'll get to see the much more firepower that the middle order has. England has a much better middle order. They have a lot more firepower they're going, so hopefully we'll be able to see pretty much of that, given that our bowlers are always on top. If you put 160 plus, I've seen this bowlers body language changes. If we have 140 plus or 150 plus, our body language changes. So yes, England going with the same squad is definitely not surprising because they just want to fill in the same combination.
And again, Natasha Farren, she was one of their frontline seamers in that tour to New Zealand earlier this year. But now, in the ODIs, we thought that she probably is competing with us for the same spot that Anya Shrubsole holds. But there's no Shrubsole in the 11 T20. Yet Farren has been on the bench. So must be tough to kind of for England to leave her out because considering there's no left-handed bowler seam bowler in the Indian setup.
Yeah, I'm sure it must be a very difficult decision, but with Farren, I think I feel more for Farren, not because she hasn't gotten a game, but more because she hasn't been released from any of the squads, hasn't gone and been able to play the domestic setup as well. So I think both her and Fran Wilson are kind of, I wouldn't think it was wrong of them to feel annoyed if they were at all, but these are professional players. They will understand that at the end of the day, the team is going out there to win, and maybe she just doesn't fit their plans. I'm honestly very, very surprised that she doesn't, because like I've been harping from the very start, I just feel she will be a handful against India, simply because, one, they haven't practiced against left arm seam for a long time, but also Farren gets